Hello everyone, this is Jordan, and welcome back to the Daily Gold YouTube channel. Thank you so much for joining me. This video is being recorded on the afternoon of Wednesday, September 18th, 2024. And in this video, I'm going to talk about silver, a short-term, medium-term outlook, the key levels that we're looking at, and what kind of expectations we can have for silver moving forward. So let's get right to the charts. So starting off, this is a weekly chart of silver, and I have mentioned in the past, it's not a good idea to look at weekly charts before the week has ended or monthly charts before the month has ended, but I'm going to make an exception just because the levels are clear on these charts. That's not going to change, and you can carry this analysis with you at least into, I should say, the end of the month, which is also the end of the quarter. So looking at the silver weekly chart, the most important takeaway that we have is recently we could see that twice silver tested what was previous resistance here, now support. So it came back and tested it twice and successfully. So you had the test here, then it rallied, came back, tested again. Big move up here in a short-term sense. Now it's pulling a little back. Looking at the daily chart, I think 31.5, you have some resistance there. So it pulled back after the Fed decision, some selling there. So you're looking at 31.5 on the daily chart. But on this weekly chart, we're looking at 32. So those daily and weekly numbers are pretty close. But 32 on a weekly basis right now, that is the key resistance for silver. If and when silver is able to break that, you're probably going to see a move to 35. So that's the next key level, 35. And again, just going back, this is clear. You have this resistance here. You had the breakout here. It dicked around for a little bit, sold off. I certainly thought a couple weeks ago it could come back to 26. I mean, I wasn't the only one. But that's how markets work sometimes. So it was able to hold on a weekly basis, hold this support. Boom, boom, two great tests. So now it's going to be in this area. So if you're bearish or you have low expectations, then it could come back here to maybe 29 or 30, putts around for a little bit, a few months. Or if the market remains hot, it's probably going to bump up here against 31.5, 32 again, and eventually push above. So that's the weekly chart. Now let's look at the monthly chart. And again, quarterly more significant than the monthly more significant than the daily. So you get the drill. But this is the monthly chart. Now, the month is not over yet, but I've said it before. I mean, we have, 10, 7, 8, 9 more trading days left in the month. I like how the monthly chart is setting up because you had these retests here where silver traded below, intra-month it traded below this support here, but each month it closed above it. So that was a key signal. This month we're getting a strong move higher. I think we're going to close the month around this level or probably higher. I'm a little more bullish in the short term. I mean, at least not bearish. I'd be surprised if this gave up this gain right here. But it's possible. But anyway, here and now, if this level remains, this is a good candle. It would be a good monthly close after this action. It's exactly what we needed to see. And we can see here on a monthly basis, we can round up and call it 31. So that's going to be a key level over the next 9 trading days or so, 31. And again, going back after this resistance here, again, 31 here, 32 on the weekly and the daily. Then the next level is 35. Now, going back to 1980 and that parabolic move, you had a couple monthly closes right here at 36. Yeah, I think you had 2 closes there, and then you had 1 close here. That's why these lines are in here. So you have a couple monthly closes at 36. We already know 35 is resistance. So that's more evidence that 35, 36 is going to be significant resistance moving forward. Okay, now let's get into the quarterly chart. And by the way, as you know, quarterly, that means 1 close every 3 months, only 4 closes a year. So in 9 days or so, we're going to get that quarterly close. So what does this quarterly chart tell us? Well, it tells us that 32, we can see here, based on this action, 32 is resistance. And again, we see the same thing where this move from several months ago, it stopped at 32. And so silver has been correcting since then. And of course, it's bumped up close to 32 again. So on the quarterly chart, we can see 32 is clear resistance. And then after that, of course, this comes out to 35 again. So These levels are coming up again. They're coming up on all these charts, 32, 35. Now, going back to 1980, you have this quarterly close here, and then you have this one. So these are the two highest quarterly closes. This one's 32 something. This one's 38. This one is 30, call it 34. So if and when we see the quarterly close above 32, that would be the third highest quarterly close ever, because it would be behind this one, and it would surpass this one right here. So another reason why 32 is significant on a quarterly basis. Now, before I get to the last chart, those of you who are interested in silver stocks, consider subscribing to the Daily Gold Premium. You can go to thedailygold.com/premium, scroll down to the bottom, and that's so you can easily subscribe. And I am going to be covering more silver stocks and silver in general in the future, because if we get a real bull market and we're really starting to move, that's going to mean more money is going to flow into the sector and then eventually into silver. And I do own several silver stocks. I think I might have one or two on the top 10 watch list. I think I have several in the top 10, and I am doing a bit of coverage on the ones that I don't own, because it's important to keep tabs on those. But if you're just a silver specific guy and you're looking for junior silver stocks, we cover that at thedailygold.com, in the premium service, I should say. So give us a chance, and we'd love to have you on that. Now, let's move away from the advertisement and get to the last chart. So this is the silver bull analog. This dotted line here, this is the average of the 4 best cyclical bull moves. So those 4 best cyclical bull moves, of course, 77 to 80, 71 to 74. And then you have the 2 in the last secular bull in precious metals. You have 08 to 11, and then 05 to 08. So, and I show a similar chart for gold, and someone asked me on Twitter, what's with the average of the 4 best? Well, this cyclical bull market in gold and silver, this should be very, very good. It should be better than the ones in the 2000s, but the ones in the 70s are really off the charts. So I think looking at the middle, that's a good realistic assumption, assuming that we're in a cyclical bull and it will continue over the next couple of years. So this is where we are here and now. This is the average. I mean, the 4 are all over the place, but what the average tells you is the average gets up pretty close. I think it's about 44, 45 here, right at the end of September, maybe early October. So this here, the average, that's 45 about 13 months from now. So we have resistance at 32 and 35. I mean, all these comments like silver can go to 50 in a month or two, I really don't see that. I'm seeing no evidence that's going to happen. You have significant resistance at 32 and then 35. And so I don't see silver testing 50. If it does, it's probably going to sometime next year, in the second half of next year. I'd say that's what's realistic. Here and now, we still have to deal with 32 and 35. And we look at, let's look at early next year. The average would have us taking out 35. It looks like in early February. So that's, 6 or 5 months from now. So that wouldn't be so bad, taking out 35 then. And then, of course, trending up to that $45 target, just a little bit more than 12 months from now. So there it is. The key levels are 32, 35 for silver. And look at those monthly and quarterly charts, because if we get quarterly close or a monthly close above the mid-30s, that's what's going to lead to a move that can go up to 50 without any significant corrections along the way. So that's all for this video. Check out the Daily Gold Premium for our coverage on silver and silver stocks. We'd love to have you. And let me know what you think about silver. What are your own expectations? Let me know. Leave a comment. I read them all. Thank you so much for tuning in. And I'll see you guys again on Friday for the weekly recap.